Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently concluded his historic visit to Singapore. This was his fifth visit to the country and came within the first 100 days of his historic third tenure. The two-day visit to the ASEAN nation involved a range of engagements with business and political communities of the country, with a special focus on cooperation between India and Singapore on semiconductors. Here is a special report on DD India on the significance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Singapore. A rousing welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Singapore. The historic fifth visit by the Indian Prime Minister has written a new chapter in the relations of the two Asian allies. Mr. Shanmugam, the Home Minister of Singapore, had reached the airport to receive Prime Minister Modi personally. The two-day state visit by PM Modi took place at the invitation of Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. The Indian diaspora, which is the third largest ethnic group of Singapore, was elated at the arrival of the Prime Minister. On the arrival of the Prime Minister, one of the most special was an Odissi dance that was performed by three girls from Singapore who are right now with us. Prime Minister also interacted with them. So let us speak with them and try to understand what was the experience like. How you guys performed as far as the upon the arrival of Prime Minister. How was the experience?
It's very exciting, very a unique experience for sure. We are very honored to represent Indian dance in Singapore. Right. We are dancing Odissi.
This was a very surreal experience. I understand that Sir is very well respected in India, so to be able to see that reception was, yeah.
The members of the Indian diaspora expressed confidence that the historic fifth visit by Prime Minister Modi will take the relations between the two countries to new heights and further increase cooperation in all aspects of the bilateral relations between India and Singapore.
It was actually really inspiring because you could see he has such a big aura.
Yeah.
And I was very excited.
On the first day of Prime Minister's visit, he was hosted at the official residence of the Prime Minister of Singapore for dinner. The meeting between the two Prime Ministers was historic as it took place within 100 days of PM Modi taking over for the third term and the election of Lawrence Wong as the Prime Minister of Singapore. The arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his fifth visit in Singapore has rejuvenated the already strong relations between the two countries. The growing people-to-people, business and political relations between the two countries is a living testimony to India's Act East policy working in the region. The second day of Prime Minister's visit to Singapore was full of engagements with political and business leaders aimed at strengthening the ties between the two countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. The meeting took place at Singapore's Parliament House, where Prime Minister Modi received a ceremonial welcome. Prime Minister Modi and Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong held comprehensive talks reviewing the progress of India-Singapore bilateral relations. The two leaders decided to elevate their partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership, aiming to strengthen India's Act East policy. This enhanced cooperation will further boost trade, investment and economic ties between the two nations.
आपके प्रधानमंत्री पद ग्रहण करने के बाद ये हमारी पहली मुलाकात है। मेरी तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई और हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। मुझे विश्वास है 4G के नेतृत्व में सिंगापुर और अधिक तेजी से प्रगति करेगा। एक्सेलेंसी, सिंगापुर केवल एक पार्टनर देश नहीं है, सिंगापुर हर विकासशील देश के लिए एक प्रेरणा है। हम भी भारत में अनेकों सिंगापुर बनाना चाहते हैं और मुझे खुशी है कि हम इस दिशा में मिलकर प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमारे बीच जो मिनिस्टरियल राउंड टेबल बनी है वो एक पाथ ब्रेकिंग मैकेनिज्म है। स्किलिंग, डिजिटलाइजेशन, मोबिलिटी, एडवांस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जैसे सेमीकंडक्टर और एआई, हेल्थ केयर, सस्टेनेबिलिटी और साइबर सिक्योरिटी जैसे क्षेत्रों में सहयोग की दिशा में ये इनिशिएटिव की पहचान बन गई है।
Prime Minister Modi highlighted that Singapore remains one of India's key economic partners, with investments of over $150 billion. He emphasized that India's rapid growth opens new avenues for Singaporean businesses. The leaders discussed enhancing cooperation in areas such as defense, security, education, artificial intelligence, fintech, and science and technology. The leaders also underscored the need to strengthen connectivity and accelerate Green Corridor projects. Discussions further covered outcomes of the second India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable, which identified pillars of future cooperation, including advanced manufacturing, digitization, healthcare, and sustainability. The two leaders exchanged views on regional and global issues, highlighting India-ASEAN relations and India's vision for Indo-Pacific. They also announced the opening of India's first Thiruvalluvar Cultural Centre in Singapore in 2025, celebrating 60 years of bilateral relations. Both the Prime Ministers also witnessed the signing of key MOUs in semiconductors, digital technology, skill development, and healthcare. MOU in field of digital technologies, MOU on semiconductor ecosystem partnership, MOU on cooperation in the field of health and medicine, MOU on educational cooperation and skills development. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended an invitation to Prime Minister Wong to visit India, which he graciously accepted. Besides the engagement with political leadership, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's focus also remained on trade ties of the two countries. However, his biggest focus was the semiconductor sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, visited AEM, a key player in global semiconductor and electronics sector. They were briefed on AEM's significant role in the global semiconductor value chain, its extensive operations, and its ambitious plans for India. The chairperson of AEM Holdings highlighted the potential of India in becoming a manufacturing hub for semiconductors. How do you see the future as far as the relation between the two countries are concerned and the role that semiconductors can play?
Well, if you look at the Indian diaspora across the world, it's very clear to see that the leaders in semiconductors are there. How we can collaborate, obviously, this change in a way that impacts Moore's Law and advanced packaging creates opportunity for both nations. It's kind of Singapore-India mutual business opportunity, business investment opportunity, technology in integrated circuits.
What kind of potential that you see in the Indian market as well as the Indian manufacturing industry?
You see a lot of high-end electronics, mobile companies moving to India. It's all public, right? They're shifting to India. So that shift is actually a very important end market because they are consumers of semiconductors. So the more electronics assembly and production that India has, the more it will have an end market for semiconductors.
Mr. Lokwai Sang also pointed out the increasing importance of semiconductors as being the building blocks of technology as we know it today.
Semiconductors are absolutely critical, and the advancement of semiconductors have not changed its trajectory for a long time. So what you're seeing today are critical technologies all coming together. But if you think about the building blocks of what semiconductor can do, artificial intelligence, even up to military applications, that will drive the trajectory of nations' relationships.
Meanwhile, the CEO of the company hailed the policies of Modi government in creating pro-business environment in the country. How can the Indian companies that are also manufacturing semiconductors in a way are part of the ecosystem? How can the two countries collaborate in the advanced manufacturing?
India has lots of histories and years of experience in chip design, and as equipment suppliers like AEM, we work closely with chip designers very early on. I think given the new emerging nature of semiconductor industry in India, that early collaboration, so we can develop technology ahead and become trendsetter in test technology.
What else is the expectation as far as the Singapore industry is concerned from India?
Visit like Prime Minister Modi's great example. We need to continue to expand our interactions with the technology companies to accelerate the collaboration.
She also claimed that a cooperation in the field of semiconductors was beneficial for both India and Singapore.
Semiconductor industry is more exciting than ever, and the collaboration between Singapore and India are really helping to fulfill that need, and I'm really excited to be part of this journey.
Ma'am, how does the Singapore semiconductor industry is viewing India right now?
India has lots of consumers and it's a great market to access, but more importantly, there's huge amount of engineering talent that we can collaborate to innovate together.
Can you explain what is the significance of semiconductor?
Semiconductor is the brain of everything in our life. Yeah. Think about everything we use, mobile phones. It has many chips in it, right? It does all the computing, communication, every connected world around us, like in the cars, right? And all the way to the space. Semiconductor is very essential part of our innovation culture.
The Singapore Semiconductor Industry Association gave a briefing on the development of the semiconductor ecosystem in Singapore and opportunities for collaborations with India. Representatives of several other Singaporean companies from this sector were also present. The Singapore semiconductor industry exuded confidence in the capabilities of India to emerge as the next semiconductor manufacturing hub.
Semicon industry, as you know, globally is going to be growing. By the end of the decade, it's going to hit $1 trillion. Having this collaboration with India, both from angle of business and also to help them in terms of workforce development, it is something that is exciting and it's going to be good for the world.
How is India looking like right now as far as these policies are concerned that have been made by the present government?
One of the most exciting countries these companies are feeling to go into is India. Because I think over the past decade, we are seeing a lot of changes in the India policies that are really in favor of businesses, in promoting businesses. So a lot of the local companies are interested. And I think if you just segue that to just semiconductor, the potential is high. So I believe that the so-called policies that's happening in India should be friendly to businesses, and businesses are seen to be keen to move to India and to collaborate with the Indian companies also.
The Singapore Semiconductors Industry Association chief spoke on the conducive environment developing in India for the semiconductor industry to grow.
It shows the Indian government's commitment and, more importantly, their passion on wanting to grow the semicon industry in India. So again, this was seen very well to the companies looking inwards to India as a potential for their business growth also.
What are the major advantages that Singapore has to gain from the Indian market?
It will help to bring out semiconductor industry in India. At the same time, help to grow the semicon SMEs of Singapore companies also.
What do you think, according to going by the policies that have been made, how do you see the future of India's semiconductor industry?
I see India as one of the major hub for semiconductor in the future, not very far distance from now. First of all, driven by a very skilled workforce, high potential workforce. Secondly, driven by the strong partnership that countries has to support India's semicon bring out. And this in turn will support the global digital society that is growing exponentially now.
With the successful conclusion of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5th visit to Singapore, a new chapter in the friendship between the two countries has started. The kind of political will showed by the leadership of the two countries and the enthusiasm that is being seen on the ground in both India and Singapore, the relation between the two countries is most likely to reach new heights. At the facility, the two Prime Ministers also interacted with Indian interns from Odisha's World Skills Centre, undergoing training in Singapore, as well as Singaporean interns who had visited India under the CII Enterprise Singapore India Ready Talent Program and Indian engineers working at the AEM facility.
I have come here to explore the Singapore, and Singapore is a really beautiful country, and it's an advanced country also. I got this opportunity due to in Odisha World Skills Center and also IT. Through this IT I have come here, so I'm really very happy. Minister also said to me how many days you are staying here. I said just 2 months. I have come here for 6 months. And also say to him, if India and Singapore build one bond, and then it will be helpful to Odisha, India also, and education center will growth in future. In this generation, so everyone must need to learn skill. If we don't learn any skills, then how we work anywhere?
I knew all the things that people says, the right things, that he looks like a big man. He handle all the things. He looks like a leader. So yeah, he is motivated. The main thing was the responsible for your work. So I am learning for that from your Singapore while I am doing the internship. And yeah, I have been here for 3 months now. I can learning something little bit like about the responsibilities, the time management, sort of things. Yeah, the work environment is very good to me.
It's time for a quick commercial, but we'll be back with more on what was there in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Singapore. Keep watching.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India. In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
Welcome back. You're watching our special program on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Singapore. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also interacted with a delegation of leading Singaporean CEOs. The high-profile meeting, attended by Singapore's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Home Affairs, saw participation from top executives across sectors like investment funds, infrastructure, manufacturing, energy, sustainability and logistics.
हम बहुत एग्रेसिवली सेमीकंडक्टर के क्षेत्र में जा रहे हैं। अब तक करीब 5 कंपनियां ऑलरेडी अपना काम शुरू कर चुकी हैं, आगे भी औरों की संभावना है, और हम पूरी इकोसिस्टम को लाने वाले हैं। हमको एक छोटा सा टुकड़ा, एक आध हिस्सा करके अटकने वाले नहीं है। भारत के पास टैलेंट है, आज दुनिया में जितने भी चिप्स हैं, अगर उसका राइटिंग का काम है तो सॉफ्टवेयर का काम है, वो सब हिंदुस्तान में हो रहा है। सब बड़ी कंपनियों के रिसर्च यूनिट वहीं पर है। अब हम चाहते हैं कि हम खुद ही यहाँ पर उस दिशा में आगे बढ़े, तो आपके लिए वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा स्कोप है।
Appreciating their investments in India, Prime Minister Modi acknowledged the crucial role Singaporean industry leaders play in bolstering bilateral relations. He announced the establishment of an Invest India office in Singapore, aiming to facilitate further collaboration and increase Singaporean investments in India.
भारत भी इंडस्ट्री 4.0 को ध्यान में रखते हुए या सेमीकंडक्टर का क्षेत्र को देखते हुए हम स्किल डेवलपमेंट पर बहुत बल दे रहे हैं। भारत की आवश्यकताओं के साथ उसका संबंध एक ग्लोबल जॉब मार्केट के से भी जुड़ा हुआ है। अगर आपकी कंपनियां ग्लोबली क्या चल रहा है उसका एक अगर सर्वे करें, ग्लोबल डिमांड क्या है उसका अगर एक एनालिसिस करें और उसके अनुसार भारत में स्किल डेवलपमेंट के लिए आए, तो ग्लोबल जॉब मार्केट को बड़ी आसानी से एड्रेस कर सकते हैं।
In his remarks, Prime Minister Modi assured that India will accelerate infrastructure development, opening up new avenues in sectors like railways, roads, ports, civil aviation, industrial parks and digital connectivity.
आप आइए, नए एयरपोर्ट के मैदान इन्वेस्टमेंट की दृष्टि से आइए, डेस्टिनेशन भी ले जाइए, एक विन विन सिचुएशन बनेगी। एयरपोर्ट का निर्माण भी आप करेंगे, डेस्टिनेशन का अपॉर्चुनिटी भी आपको मिलेगा। तो हम एक उस प्रकार से एक पैकेज बना करके चल सकते हैं, क्योंकि भारत में शायद मुझे बहुत ही निकट भविष्य में 100 से ज्यादा एयरपोर्ट बनाने होंगे। यानी अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा मिशन है।
While the push by Prime Minister Modi to cement economic ties between the two countries was appreciated from all quarters of the business community, it also motivated businesses to boost investments in India.
Ever since His Excellency PM Modi comes into power, it's implemented a lot of reforms, and in the last 7 years, our growth in India has tripled because of the huge prospects of India. I think stable government, steady reforms, pro-business. I think we are very confident to say that we want to be able to more than double our funds under management in India within the next few years. We have transformed from a pure developer to an investment manager. We are able to bring in foreign capital from around the world who are very interested to work with us to invest in India, and not just that, but also to bring in companies from Asia, from Europe, from US, to set up their manufacturing facilities, to set up their businesses, to set up their logistics, the supply chain.
India has become one of the major player globally, the 5th largest the economies in the world. And I would like to continue to encourage him to open up the market, to consider some of the new policies, or improve some of the existing policy to encourage more collaboration, particularly with Singaporean companies and then with the Singaporean investments.
Commitment to digital India, the commitment to digitalization across all of Indian society has been actually something that is, for a lot of places, an example to follow. We've seen that basically that demand is increasing rapidly, and that will allow that whole digital India story to really expand and grow dramatically.
From engagements with Indian diaspora to inviting investments, cooperation on digitization, semiconductors, advanced manufacturing and even cultural exchanges, the historic 5th visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Singapore has laid down the groundwork for enhanced relations between the two countries, which is set to start a new chapter in the friendship of the two Asian allies, which is set to be a defining one of the 21st century.